listening to the Pohhu Experience.
Yo, I thought today is gonna be a little fun episode, kind of going down memory lane. I was flipping through my old files and just came across the old Q&A PDF file that I made. If you're signed up to my newsletter, you've likely seen this already. The file is called like QA 2018, and it was just a bunch of screenshots of all the Q&As I was doing back then in 2018, which seems like so long ago. And I thought it'd be fun to go back to those questions and answer it in a 2023 perspective, because I've definitely changed a lot from 2018 until now. More likely than not, my answer will be somewhat the same, but the way I answer it might be a little bit different. And also for the podcast for this season 6, I haven't really done much rapid fire Q&A, so I thought that'd be fun today. But there are a couple of things I want to go through first. First thing is meal prep update. It's been exactly 3 weeks since we came back from the Korea trip. I've been on a pretty like 100% clean, 100% meal preppy kind of routine. I thought it would only last maybe a week or two, but we're in week 3 and I'm going pretty strong. I'm actually really enjoying it. Haven't had much cravings at all. I've had some here and there, but they were very easy to defeat. Just it wasn't any craving that I had to make any adjustments to in my diet for. And I think it really helps that the kiddos are back to school and my schedule is really set. Like Monday to Friday is really set. I have to wake up at 6 a.m. every morning. I have to make sure I go to bed around 10, 11 or not. I'm not hitting that 7-8 hours of sleep. And in between, got to squeeze in everything, right? Work, making content. And it just feels like I got a really nice routine going on. I'm actually enjoying it. It's becoming quite intuitive for me. Like when I'm about to have dinner, I look at the time, I go preheat the oven first because making that salmon takes 20 minutes and I have everything prepped. There's not much thinking going on. Everything is kind of on autopilot mode. I'm just really enjoying it. So far since the trip, I've lost about 1 to 1.5 kilo. So that's 1 to 1.5 kilo within 3 weeks. Pretty decent rate, and I've been feeling really full because it's so much whole foods. I've still been trying it with the brown rice. Still haven't really gotten it to how good it was with the drunken chicken. So still experimenting, not able to share any improvements on it yet. Also because I started to make bigger portions because I kind of got lazy to make fresh ones all the time. So I'm cooking 3 cups instead of 2. And then last week, there's a lot of times for dinner, we called out kimbap or the Korean sushi roll for dinner. And I just calculated that as my rice instead of the brown rice. So I have a lot of brown rice over and haven't been able to really cook as much as I've wanted. But yeah, I could totally see myself sticking to this current diet until at least the kiddo summer holidays, where our schedule is going to change a lot significantly. And then I might end up craving something else. And until then, I have a good 2 months to really be just honed in on track and maximize as much results I can get from there. My workouts are still here and there. I'm kind of prioritizing this content still. I am definitely defeating the procrastination demon I've been dealing with in the past 2 weeks. I'm feeling a lot better, a lot more motivated to get back into work, to not procrastinate, to not endlessly watch YouTube shorts. Although there is one thing I've been getting into, which is totally mommy's fault. She was the one that recommended her to me, which is watching Young's mukbang videos. And before watching Young, I really did not enjoy mukbang videos. It was just so much food. It kind of created a disgust in me. And going a little bit down the rabbit hole of a lot of mukbang eaters, their lifestyle isn't really the greatest. And then there was that whole scandal thing a couple of years back with some Korean mukbang videos were actually not eating. Like they were editing the video in a way where she was spitting out the food or something. And then you have someone like Nico Avocado. It wasn't something I was too interested in. But then I started to watch a couple of episodes of Young because I was a little bit kind of missing Korean food. Watching her eat is actually pretty relaxing. Like, yes, she eats a lot of food, but she's not really, at least it doesn't seem like she's acting. She's actually just enjoying her food and she's able to eat a lot. And it's really just positive vibes. Watching her mukbang videos actually feels more like a tour of Korean food than it is like the sole purpose of watching somebody eat a lot of food, if you know what I mean. And so these days I've been putting Young in my background as I work because her videos aren't really that noisy and it's just nice to peep in and see somebody eating a lot of yummy food all the time. And it's really hats off to her and her team. All her videos just have the same vibe. It's just pure positive vibes. And I know her previous scandal that she had in like 2020 and with the whole like advertising thing, like that doesn't really faze me. I mean, things happen. I don't really even, call it a scandal. I mean, she's back now making videos again and she's being very careful about sponsorship and all that. So far, it's just watching her feels like a tour of Korea. I wanted to do a quick recipe review of Pizza Hut because I realized Pizza Hut is one of the fast food chains that a lot of people don't understand the calories, especially how Pizza Hut has different sizes of pizza. Yes, Pizza Hut does have its calories online, but it's not as intuitive as, let's say, you know, a Big Mac, because you're getting just a Big Mac or just the French fries or just the chicken nuggets. With pizza, it's kind of like, well, you might have 2, you might have 3 pieces. It might be not that easy to calculate. If you put it in MyFitnessPal, there are so many entries, you don't know which one to pick. So it doesn't feel that intimidating. The confusion kind of becomes an excuse. So yesterday I went down and downloaded the Pizza Hut nutritional information that's updated to March 2023. Now, disclaimer, this is Pizza Hut UK, which is definitely different than the Pizza Hut we have here in Asia, but it's somewhat the same. I was looking at the menu. It's still Super Supreme, Hawaiian, meat lovers. So I'm estimating the numbers won't be too far off. I'm also going to give you a warning. Don't let these numbers scare you to never eating Pizza Hut again. But Pizza Hut is really one of those fast food chains that's very, very easy to overeat. I mean, just to give you some background, I think back when I was 14, 15, I could easily finish a large Pizza Hut pizza by myself. I mean, I would definitely be full after that, but it wasn't exactly a challenge. A challenge would probably be me finishing 2 where I really have to push myself. But 1, super easy peasy. Now, this is why it's kind of scary now I think back. So let's just take a normal pepperoni pizza. This calorie guide that I got from Pizza Hut, they don't have the small personal pizza calories for whatever reason. So I guess in the UK, they don't have personal size. They only go from medium to large. It's either 6 pieces or 8 pieces. Check this out. Pepperoni pizza on a medium, so the 6-piece slice, 1 slice is 182 calories. Now that is normal crust. Let's just call it thick crust. Thick crust, 1 slice, medium pizza is 182 calories. And you might think, how could it be so much? It's just 1 small slice of pizza. But then you got to remember, the biggest difference with pizza and all the other fast food chains is pizza uses a hell lot of cheese. And what's cheese? Cheese is fat. Fats is 9 calories per gram, while protein and carbs is 4 calories per gram. So any dish that has a lot of fats, that means it's going to be higher in calorie. Now you might also think, well, that's just 1 slice, right? What's a big deal? And that's when I'm going to remind you, do you remember the medium-sized Pizza Hut pizza? I think regardless of gender, regardless of size, I think most of us can finish that 1 whole medium pizza from Pizza Hut, any flavors, very easily, right? Large one, I'd say yes, it's still a lot of food for some of us. I think even for me now, I get kind of sick eating a large pizza, maybe by slice 5, like I had enough. And it's not really that I'm full, it's just I've had enough of the grease, of the cheese and all that. But a medium pizza, that's like easy peasy. So this is where you got to watch out for, right? 182 calories times 6 is 1,092 calories. 1,092 calories. That's 2 Big Macs. But then when you're eating 2 Big Macs, you know you ate a lot. You know that, oh God, I ate a lot of food today. But when you eat a whole medium pepperoni pizza from Pizza Hut, you're not really feeling that. It's like you're likely still a little bit peckish, still a little bit hungry, and could go for, you know, some French fries or some sausages, some chicken wings, some kind of side dish, but you've already eaten 1,092 calories. You've already eaten, basically on any diet that you're on, that's around 60 to 75% of your daily calories already. Now remember, that's thick crust. If you have stuffed crust, you know, with the cheese in the middle, 1 slice becomes 301 calories. That is so much for 1 slice. That's like basically a sausage McMuffin with egg from McDonald's breakfast. I mean, can you imagine with the cheesy bites and you finish the whole medium pizza? That's 1,800 calories. I think for a lot of people, 1,800 calories, that's around your maintenance weight if you're like 55 kilos and below. I think a lot of times when you go to like pizza parties and people just order a ton of Domino's or Pizza Hut, I mean, in my heart, I go to these parties knowing that I'm probably going to eat a lot today, and I either just don't count today, get back on track tomorrow, or I might just not eat the whole day and just save it for this meal because I know a lot of calories are going to be involved. But then I think for a lot of people, it's almost like you don't see it coming. It's like, well, it's just a pizza party. It's no big deal. You don't realize that probably throughout the whole party, have a soda here and there, a couple of slices of pizza, some chicken wings, some other snacks, and you're easily going on to like 2,000 plus calories, just even without knowing, just really enjoying yourself. And again, nothing wrong with enjoying yourself, but if this kind of thing happens too often, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, right? You need to have some kind of control. So that's pepperoni pizza, medium size. Now, what about large size? Large size, the 8 slice. Pepperoni pizza from Pizza Hut, 1 large slice is 279 calories. 279 calories for 1 large slice. And that's really crazy. I could easily eat 3 slices without thinking. And then what's that? That's 837 calories without me thinking at all. I guess I'm pretty astonished too, because I haven't looked up Pizza Hut calories in a while. I just know in my head it's a lot of calories. And every time I have Pizza Hut, I actually don't count calories. I just basically treat it as a celebration and get back on track the next day. So now I'm looking at it, I'm like, God damn, it's a lot more than I remembered. But I think I really just want to bring this to light because if you know, then you know how to plan it. Because it becomes like, if today you really feel like having fun, going out for some fast food, and you have choices, Pizza Hut, KFC, or McDonald's, you're very likely to still be within 1,000 calories eating whatever the hell you want in McDonald's, compared to going to Pizza Hut and just going all out. You'll easily go 2,000 calories. If you still want to kind of be in control, then maybe KFC and McDonald's is the better choice. And I think that's what's important with understanding diet, understanding weight loss, understanding how to be in control of your weight. It's just making better decisions consistently over time. Of course, this doesn't mean that you never have Pizza Hut. I always want to emphasize that because yes, there are foods that are high in calories, but it doesn't mean you avoid them. It just means when you're going to have them, you need a lot more awareness and a lot more control. A lot more awareness is, all right, I'm going to go have Pizza Hut today. It's super high in calories. I don't care. I'm just going to get back on track tomorrow. I'm just going to enjoy myself. Cool. Or, oh, the office is having a pizza party today. I got 500 calories left on my diet. I guess maximum I can only go for 2 slices. Great. That's what it means to be in control. It's not avoidance. Avoidance is what gets you in trouble because avoidance creates the cravings. And once you get the cravings, the only way to get rid of them is to eat that thing that you're craving. And so best thing to do is just to be flexible and keep cravings to an absolute minimum. And so I'm looking at all the other flavors of Pizza Hut. I realized they're all roughly the same calories. It seems like it's just the size difference, or if you use stuffed crust or not, the calories really change. But say pepperoni pizza versus Hawaiian pizza, the calorie difference is like 20 calorie difference per slice, regardless of size. Same for Super Supreme, same for meat lovers. Obviously, Super Supreme and meat lovers is going to be a little bit higher calories than say Hawaiian or pepperoni because they have more meat, more protein and fats, but also not significant. Like the pepperoni pizza we're talking about just now, a 6-piece slice was 182 calories. For a Super Supreme, it's 204 calories. It's like not that much at all, right? So I guess I don't have to go through all the different flavors, but you kind of get a gist of how many calories one slice of pizza is. I guess an easy way to remember it is medium slice, just call it 200 calories per slice. A large pizza from Pizza Hut, just call it 250 calories per slice. From there, you do your calculation, right? So if you finish a whole large thick crust pizza by yourself from Pizza Hut, that's 250 times 8, which is basically you just ate 2,000 calories. So when you see large Pizza Hut box, that's 2,000 calories in a box. And so, you know, go and divide it and see what fits into your diet and go from there. I think now that I've done Pizza Hut, I'll go and fish out my KFC review and my McDonald's review, and I'll clip it out into an individual clip on my YouTube channel so that you can go back and refer to it. I mean, you'll see that KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, they're a lot lower calories compared to Pizza Hut. Actually, I'm not even sure if I did KFC. I keep saying KFC. Like I've done it for myself. I don't know if I've done it for my podcast. If I haven't, we'll do it soon in the next few episodes. But if I have, I will clip it out and it'll be easy access for you guys. Into the main portion of today's episode, we are going to go through the Q&A 2018 PDF file that I made, that if you're signed up to my newsletter, the welcome email that you get from it, there's a link there for you to download it. If you lost it, want access to it again, feel free to DM me, email me, let me know. I'll send you this file again. It's kind of nostalgic looking at it and looking at the way that I used to answer these questions. Like, I can't believe it's 2018. It's like literally 5 years ago. And I remember I didn't get into the daily story Q&A answering until a lot after I was doing all the other stuff, right? Because I was at first writing 3-4 articles a day as posts, and then I started the IGTV, and then I think after the IGTV I started to do this everyday story Q&As. That means a lot of the stuff I was doing was in 2017. Sorry, just going down memory lane a little bit, but let's jump right into the questions. And I think these are like the MVPs. There was a point in time, I think I screenshotted 6 months worth of Q&As, like every answer to the questions I was answering back then, and I picked out the best ones, because obviously there was a lot of repeated ones as well. I didn't include those, but I am proud to say that every single one of them, I've never copy pasted a reply. I always try to reply fresh. Partly it's for me. I want to get better at explaining certain questions until, you know, hopefully my goal is kind of like, I explain it so well, you'll never ask that question again. But a lot of times as I explain it, it's not really that clear. So then you come back to it and I'm like, okay, how should I answer it this time? That's a big reason why I don't find answering the same questions annoying, because I know a lot of you have DM'd me and told me, I can't believe your patience. I can't believe you keep answering all these questions again and again and again. Because yes, it's true. I mean, on the topic of weight loss, health, and fitness, how many questions could you ask? Like, unless you go a little bit more advanced, there are more advanced questions to ask. But then over here, we kind of keep it more vanilla. It's more on the surface level stuff. It's fun for me. I actually do enjoy it. And I think it had to be true, because if I don't enjoy it, there's no way I'm doing this every single day. So anyway, let's jump into the first question. The first question is, how did you learn to count your calories? I find it so intimidating. I think I've told this story before, but not very often. So how I started calorie counting was in 2015 in December, when I was at that phase of making the New Year's resolution, really sick of myself because I have post-its around my desk of my 2014 and 2013 resolution, which is all to lose weight. So basically those were post-its to remind me that, oh yeah, dude, you made this resolution. You did nothing. Now it's 2015 and you're making the same resolution again. That kind of pissed me off. And I was pissed off at me, right? It's like I never made the commitment to do it, or I gave up too easily. There's really no excuse. It was my fault. And so I was very determined in 2015 to really go all in on this weight loss goal. And I've tried so many methods, right, in the past, and none of them worked, obviously. For whatever reason, this time I decided I am going to try calorie counting. And I've never tried calorie counting. I don't even really understand calories. The first time I ever learned about calories was in 6th grade health class. And that's the first time we learned that foods have certain amount of calories, and us as human beings need to eat a certain amount of calories to live a healthy life every day. That's all I remember. So that was the limit to my knowledge of calorie counting. All I did was I Googled how much calories should the average male eat on a daily basis. And in 2015, Google told me 2,000 to 2,500 calories. I thought I wanted to go the extra mile. I thought I was more special than everybody else. So I gave myself a target of 1,800 calories. And then back then, I also Googled what is the best app out there to track your calories. And the first one to come up was MyFitnessPal. And that's really how my journey started. It was literally remembering what I learned in 6th grade health class about calories and just going from there. And I genuinely believe that if MyFitnessPal did not exist, I wouldn't have succeeded, because MyFitnessPal made me not need to worry about a lot of things. Like, I just kind of trusted it, even though now I know some of the numbers in MyFitnessPal is quite inaccurate, but it's still a better base than having no idea at all. Even if the data was 60% accurate, it's better than 0% accurate. And that's what I think really helped me through my journey. And that's how I learned to count. Over time, I kept learning, right? I, at first, only eyeballed, only used what fast food chains would give you for their calorie sheets and used that to track my daily calories. My only goal every day was to be below 1,800. That was it. I didn't try to be like, well, maybe today I should do 1,200. I get an even bigger boost towards my goals. Like, I wasn't in that mindset. I already thought that aiming for 1,008 was already that extra mile, because Google said normal male was 2,000 to 2,500. So I was just aiming for that 1,800, which I usually ended up, 1,7 something something. And that was basically the first half year of me calorie counting. I didn't really change the foods I was eating. I was still eating McDonald's. I was still eating KFC, but it was very calculated. And I learned from there. There was one time I remember so distinctively that I had a good lunch, and the lunch was like 300-400 calories. And mommy was like, you want to share a cheesecake? I was like, sure, why not? And we saw the cheesecake, and the cheesecake wasn't a big piece at all. I was like, why don't we just have one each? Sure. So I ate the cheesecake. Then I went into MyFitnessPal to put it in, and I saw that cheesecake on average, one slice was like 300-400 calories. Now I was like, fuck. This leaves me with very little to eat for dinner. It completely screwed up my dinner plans. And ever since then, I always count first before I put food into my mouth. Because if I put food into my mouth, then count, there's no going back. But if food is in front of me, I haven't eaten it yet, and I calculate everything out first, I can give myself a confirm prompt to make sure everything is right, then go ahead and eat it. It really was kind of experiences like that I learned how to count calories. It is definitely intimidating in the beginning. It's as everything is, right? Everything is intimidating when you first start out, and the more you do it, the more familiar you are with it, the easier it gets. The next question is, how do you season your food? I think back then I was posting a lot of really plain foods, right? It looked almost like everything was boiled or steamed, but I was actually baking a lot of things. It might have looked like I just was eating plain stuff. Oh, but one thing I have to come out to say as well is during my weight loss journey, I was experimenting with a lot of foods, and throughout certain phases of it, I was eating very little oil and salt because I had the misconception that oil and salt would screw up my weight loss journey for whatever reason. I can't even remember why. And this is one of my frustrations where I really started to document everything after I hit my weight goal. So during my weight loss, it's just all this bits and pieces of my memory. All I know is there was a time where I basically wasn't seasoning my food. I was eating plain foods. In the beginning, it was kind of hard, but over time, I really did start to appreciate the taste of every whole food. I could start to taste the difference a little bit of celery makes, a little bit of coriander, the sweetness of a tomato, the fragrance of a banana. Like these things started to accentuate a lot for me. By the time I hit my weight goal and went back to a normal diet, just completely seasoned however I wanted to, realizing that salt doesn't make a difference, start to use more oil because realize all I have to do is be careful how much I use. I can still use oil in my cooking and all that. Just a little bit became very significant for me. Like a pinch of salt would make me feel like the food tastes absolutely crazy amazing now. And a lot of times going out, I would find the food too salty or too oily because I was way too used to bland foods for a long period of time. Am I getting off track here? I suddenly forgot what the actual question was. Oh, the question is, how do you season your food? So after that whole storyline, now I basically season my food with mostly powdered spices because powdered spices doesn't have a lot of calories. Taco spice, garlic powder, onion powder, these kind of things I use very, very regularly. And of course, your usual salt, pepper, soy sauce, sriracha chili sauce, mustard. I'm still sticking to lower calorie condiments because I know I could easily overdo it. Those are my major go-throughs. I used to eat a lot more fresh chili, but then over time, a lot of my tummy aches throughout the day came from the chilies. I thought it was just how my body is. I get random tummy aches, but no, it was just I was eating way too much fresh chili. So I started to cut that out. Now I eat more just sriracha. Sriracha is still has a big enough punch for me to be enjoying my food, not punchy enough for me to be having tummy aches throughout the day. So that's what I usually season my food with now. The next question is, I have not lost any weight even when I already ate less. Any tips? So yes, losing weight is about eating less than your body expends. It's about eating in a consistent calorie deficit, but eating less does not mean you're in a calorie deficit, right? Unless you're actually tracking. You could be eating less, but not less enough for you to be in a calorie deficit, which means then you wouldn't have lost any weight. That's one scenario. Scenario number two is you just ate less for 3 days, you didn't see much change on the scale, and you're wondering what went wrong, which nothing went wrong. You just got to keep doing this for 2-3 weeks to actually know if you're on track or not. 2-3 days is just not enough time to get any kind of data. And also eating less, are you sure you're eating less? Because let's say, yes, for lunch and dinner, you eat half rice. You don't eat as much rice as usual, so you consider that eating less, but that added you to eating extra potato chips after lunch and after dinner. So you ate back the calories from that half rice that you saved. That could be possible as well. So my answer to this question is, if you're eating less and not losing any weight, make sure you're tracking correctly, make sure you're being patient with the results. If you are eating 2-3 weeks, you're tracking your food, you are eating less than usual, and you're still not losing any weight at all, that's when you might need to eat even more less. You need to adjust because you are still eating too many calories. That is the only reason you're not losing weight. It really doesn't get more complicated than that. Man, I wanted to do rapid fire questions. I realize I'm doing very thorough answers. So powering through to the next one. How do you count your calorie goal and macro? Okay, for calorie goal, you want to use a TDE calculator. You can use one that I have on my website, pohhuexp.com/TDEE. Your TDEE, that 4-digit number, is roughly how much calories it takes for you to maintain weight. So what I would suggest is you eat at TDEE first for 2 to 3 weeks and track your weight and see what the changes are. Because it could very much be, if you're more active in any shape or form, that TDEE number you get from my website is actually already a calorie deficit. So then you don't need to make any changes. If not, if you do 2-3 weeks on that TDEE number and you're not seeing any change in your weight, that's when you minus maybe 100-200 calories and try again for 2-3 weeks. That's where you get started. I wouldn't recommend you use like MyFitnessPal to help you figure out your calories, because very likely you're going to put in like, oh, I want to lose 1-2 kilograms a week and my target is this. And then MyFitnessPal will see, oh, you have a really far goal and you want to go super aggressive. So, all right, you should eat 1,200 calories, which is just way too little, and a lot of trouble comes from that. I won't go through it again here. There's just no need to make yourself suffer. So use my TDE calculator instead, or any TDE calculator out there. Like, those are fine. And as for how do you count your macro goals, I think macro goals are blown out of proportion. Like, you don't really need a macro goal, especially if your goal is to lose weight. If there's any macro you want to track, just track your proteins. To figure out how much protein you should eat on a daily basis, it's about 1.6 times your current body weight. That number is the total grams that you you should aim for on a daily basis. So let's use an example. So if you're 60 kilograms, you multiply that by 1.6, that comes out to 96. So you want to eat 96 grams of protein every single day. 96 grams of protein can be intimidating. You might just be averaging at around 40, 50 grams of protein every day, and then trying to hit that 96 could be kind of difficult. So it's totally okay to just make the 96 an aim. Over weeks and months, try to add to the protein that you're eating on a daily basis until you hit that 96. And that would be my recommendation on how you should start counting your calorie goal and your macro goal. For carbs and fats, it really doesn't matter. Hit your proteins, and whatever is left with your calories, divide it however you like for carbs and fats. Really makes very little difference. It's all preference from there. Next question is, I love poke bowls so much. Can it be added to my diet food routine? Are they healthy? Oh, I love poke bowls too, but over here, we don't really have much choice for it. I've never really walked past one, and on my Uber Eats, there's a few stalls, and I've only ordered once, and it's nice. It's just a headache to calculate the calories, so I end up being a little bit lazy ordering them, but they definitely taste really, really good. They are definitely considered healthy. I mean, it's all these nutrient-rich ingredients together. I think it's a great food to add to your diet because it's so much whole foods. You'll feel more satiated. You're hitting a lot more proteins, and I think the only thing you have to think about with poke bowls is some of them have a lot of sauce, and so you might want to control the amount of sauce you use. Other than that, go for it. Add it to your diet routine. It's definitely a great addition. Next question is, will eating less cause metabolism to slow down if I don't work out at all? So regardless of workout, eating less is going to cause your metabolism to slow down. What should you do about it? Nothing at all. It's just what happens when you eat less. When you're in a calorie deficit, your metabolism is going to go down. When you eat back to maintenance, your metabolism is going to build back up. That's all it is. There's nothing much to do there at all. It just comes with the process. Now, can you raise metabolism in other ways while you're in a calorie deficit? Yeah, but that's really just the other stuff that you should already be doing anyway, in terms of you can raise metabolism by working out regularly, hitting your proteins every day, sleeping well, eating more nutrient-rich whole foods. All those things will raise your metabolism. And so the thing you should be worrying about actually isn't a metabolism, but just getting those things in, right? Making sure you're sleeping well. That matters as a whole, not just because of metabolism. Same from hitting your proteins, working out. It's just an overall health thing and not a metabolism thing. So my main answer to this question would be, does eating less cause metabolism to slow down? Yes, but stop worrying about metabolism. Like, don't worry about that. Worry about the things that actually matter. Metabolism is not directly in your control. Next one is, have you ever felt tired of having a healthy lifestyle? I tried before for quite some time, and at one point I just ... not enough space for the full question, and I'll say no, not this time. Before, yes. Before I went on this weight loss journey, before I understand about calories, before I started to really study nutrition, yes, all the time. Going down a healthy lifestyle, I always got tired of it, and that's why I quit. The biggest problem was this. Back then, my idea of a healthy lifestyle is not the same as my idea now of a healthy lifestyle. My idea before of a healthy lifestyle is avoiding all junk foods, eating only boiled veggies and chicken breast, and working out 4 or 5 times a week, sleeping 8 hours a day. That was my idea of a healthy lifestyle, and it felt like I was in prison. It felt like I couldn't enjoy anything. It felt like every celebration was stressful. It's like, what? There's a wedding? My friends are getting married and I have to eat cake? What am I gonna do? It was literally that feeling, right? You're just like, fuck, there's gonna be cake and they're gonna force me to eat it. So what the hell do I do? It was so stressful back then, right? Back then, before I went on this last weight loss journey of mine. But then now, I really don't get tired of it at all, because my healthy lifestyle now is just making sure I'm 70-80% on point. That means eating 70-80% nutrient-rich whole foods, but then there's room of 30% where I just eat whatever the hell I want. I mean, best example, right? In Korea, I was just eating whatever I wanted, literally whatever I wanted. Coming back from Korea, I've been eating like 100% in quotation clean, so to say. But then that's kind of like the 70-30, right? I took 6 days and just did whatever the hell I wanted. Now for the past 21 days, I've been really a good boy. I've been really making sure that my health is in check. And that's that balance. I'm happy both sides. I'm happy when I was in Korea. I'm happy now when I'm back making progress again towards my goals. Currently, this is a very healthy lifestyle that I can see myself maintain. I don't expect to eat this clean forever. I expect it maybe to last another 1-2 months. Then maybe throughout the day, it's more of a 70-30, 80-20, where one meal is completely nutrient rich, one meal is not. But that will change over time time depending on how I feel, but I feel it's completely sustainable. And it's because I understand. It's because, like previously, we're going through Pizza Hut calories. Like, I understand eating a whole box of pizza is 2,000 calories. Are there going to be days I want to do that? Yeah, for sure. But they're going to be rare in between, right? I'm definitely going to plan out those days. Are there going to be days I'm craving for Big Macs? Yeah. And Big Macs are so much easier to fit into a daily diet. Just to give you an example, right? If today I cut all my carbs, so I cut out the pumpkin that I'm eating, I cut out the brown rice that I'm eating, maybe I have one less egg. Everything else in my diet is the same. Still have the 7-Eleven chicken breast, still have the Shin Ramen soup with veggies, still have my baked salmon, still have my fried eggs, still be drinking my vodka at night. All I do is take away my pumpkin and my brown rice currently. That's almost like 500 plus calories. That's one Big Mac. I could easily just fit a Big Mac in if I'm craving for it. Being able to do that makes me not feel tired of this lifestyle at all. I feel very free. I feel like if I feel like something, I have the choice. And now my choice is I'm not craving anything. I don't need to make that switch. So I think, yes, it's very true. And that I've been on both sides. You can very much feel tired going through a healthy lifestyle, especially when you don't understand what a healthy lifestyle actually means. A healthy lifestyle means understanding food, understanding your circumstances, understanding your goals, and being flexible around it. Healthy lifestyle is not boiled vegetables, chicken breast, and just this really imprisoning schedule that if you break it, all hell breaks loose. And I think unless you spend some time in understanding food, that's always your kind of mindset, your preset to what a healthy lifestyle is. So I guess a very elaborated answer, but a healthy lifestyle is 100% sustainable. You just really have to work towards it. Next one is, can you share all your recipes? I think most of the recipes that I have on IG, that's actually a recipe that I didn't get from Uber Eats and I really cooked myself. I think it's all in the highlights. There's one that's called recipes, and that's just basically everything I've posted in the past that I've made myself that people have asked for recipes. Anything else you want to know, feel free to ask. I'd be more than happy to share. Like these days, a lot of the recipes come from mommy because she's doing more of the cooking from the pictures. She's been helping out, sharing her recipes as well. So you want recipes at any time, just let me know. It's not a big deal at all. I'm more than happy to share. Next question. Deficit on weekdays, maintenance on weekends. Is it going to work? Absolutely, 100% going to work because you're still in an overall deficit. Remember, being on a calorie deficit doesn't need to be counted by the days. It could be counted in any kind of time frame. Being in a deficit on a weekly basis, you're going to still lose weight. Being in a deficit on a monthly basis, you're still going to lose weight. Being in a deficit on a yearly basis, yes, you're still going to lose weight. But just understand that the longer you draw out the time, the more fluctuations you're going to see, and you got to get used to those fluctuations because it can get scary, right? You can see a 2 kilogram up or down jump in your weekly weight, but still end up on a lower weekly average than last week. If you're doing monthly deficit, it's very possible you jump like 3-4 kilograms and still be in a deficit. It's all just about overall eating less than your body expends. As long as you're doing that, it really doesn't matter how you schedule it. I mean, you could even be in a little bit of a surplus in the weekends, be on a deficit on the weekdays, but if your deficits are still higher than your surpluses on the weekends and the overall week is still a deficit, you're still making progress. That's totally fine. Don't worry about the actual scheduling of things. Next one is, when you're fasting, have you experienced hyperacidity? Hyperacidity, as I understand it, is like acid reflux. I have not. I have not ever, from all my experiments with IF, which I experimented a lot. I've done from 16 hours to 24 hours. I've done OMAD, 1 meal a day for an extended period of time. Never did I had acid reflux. But one thing I want to share is, before I went on a weight loss journey, I was constantly having acid reflux. I would wake up in the middle of the night, it feels like you puked in your mouth constantly. This was like when I was 123 kilograms. It almost felt normal. I didn't even consult the doctors or anything. I just felt, well, I feel fine in the morning, so whatever. This is just what happens at night. But of course, now I know it's not something you just want to leave alone. It's something you want to try to fix if that's what you're experiencing. It's true. Some people that fast do experience it. I would say play around with your timings. Perhaps you're just fasting too long. You don't need to fast that long. If you're doing like 20 hours, why don't you just cut it down to 15, 16? If 15, 16 hours, it's still happening, then just don't. There's no need to sacrifice your health for a diet method. There are other methods. You just need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. And all methods out there work. It doesn't have to be fasting. So if fasting is not for you, don't do it. It's not worth it. Not a big deal at all. Next one is, how do you manage your diet routine? Well, basically my diet is managed by, currently I use Carbon app and meal prep. really. It's all planning ahead. It's really not some kind of secret jitsu where, I summon a dragon and it whispers in my ear, like, this is what you have to eat today. And then I get all motivated and inspired by the wisdom from his whiskers, and I go about hunting the food that I need for the day. It's nothing like that. It's just like budgeting finances. You're like, okay, I'm earning this much this month. I have these bills to pay. How much do I have to spend on food? And then, I spend that much on food. And that's what I'm really doing with my calories. I look at, all right, what's my goal? So what's my target calories? And what foods do I want to eat? What other things do I want to hit in terms of proteins or other nutrients? Plan it out on Carbon app and then go ahead and execute. And so currently it's all the meal prep, right? You can find details on it in the previous episodes. In like 2 episodes before this one, I had the whole meal prep episode. And I think one thing that really helps with the routine is having a routine. It's just keeping it the same. Unless you're somebody that really needs change, then I guess it just takes more daily planning. Like at this time, week 3 in my meal prep, I'm basically going on autopilot mode now because I just have to weigh my foods, but I also roughly know what they look like, what the portions look like. I know what's for dinner after I record this podcast episode. I'm just going to go heat up the oven, cook eggs, cook some salmon, heat up brown rice from the fridge, and that's dinner. Don't really need to think about it much. I think it's just really planning it out in the first hand. Next one is, what are your fasting patterns nowadays? I'm a new follower of yours. Wow, this is 2018. So my answer in the PDF is, I'm currently doing 18.6. Okay, so that was the period I was doing 18.6. That means I was doing my experimental period, I think. There was a long period that I was just experimenting with IF. I think that was it. So if you track that back, if you track back IGTV episodes around 2018, those will have a lot of episodes where I talk about fasting. If you're interested in that, you could go back to that. Nowadays, I guess my fasting pattern is still kind of 18.6, but I do have that whey protein in the morning, right? So if you count that as breaking fast, then I'm not fasting these days. If not, I'm basically finished dinner by 6 p.m. and my next lunch is the next day's 12 p.m. So that's at 18.6. It's just a whey protein at like 6 a.m. in the morning. I still try to fast whenever possible. I actually like fasting. I like having less meals in a day so I could have bigger meals. I do not like having 3 regular meals a day. I'd rather have 2 really large ones, or having 2 meals a day. One is slightly smaller than the other and the other is just ultra huge, and it's just so satisfying. And it's just a method I've really enjoyed. Next one is, I lost 10 kgs. I still have 10 for my ideal weight, but now my weight is stuck and I'm not able to get back. So losing 10 kgs is amazing. And a lot of times, I think with whatever method you're using, right? If you lost 10 kg using the exact same method, you might have to review what you're doing and review your portions again. Now, let's put it in the context of like calorie counting. So let's say you're eating 1,800 calories and you lost 10 kg. But now you're eating the exact same things that help you lose 10 kg at 1,800, but now 1,800 seems to be just maintaining your weight. That is very possible because 10 kg is a lot of weight to lose. And what used to be a deficit might now be maintenance. So maybe before your TDEE was 2,000, so 1,800 was getting you result. Now that you lost 10 kg, your maintenance is actually 1,800. So if you're going to stick to 1,800, you're just going to, as you said, keep getting stuck. And the way to get unstuck is you probably have to eat 1,007 or 1,006 to keep going, losing the next 10. You don't need to go crazy and cut down to like 1,002, 1,004. Just go down to 1,007, 1,006, try it for a couple of weeks and keep going from there. When you are stuck, and it's not stuck because of not being consistent and all that, you're doing everything the same, you're trying really hard, and what worked suddenly didn't, this is usually the issue. And so all you got to do is make a little bit of diet changes, a little bit of portion changes, and off you go. You'll be back on track and keep making progress again. Next one is, what's your view on intermittent fasting? Do you recommend it? I think during this time was really the time that I was doing a lot of intermittent fasting, because there's like a lot of intermittent fasting questions. Actually, no, that's not true. I get a lot of intermittent fasting questions these days too. I guess that's just the most trendy diet. But anyway, what's my view on it? So after all these years, now in 2023, now that I've finished experimenting it, I feel like I fully understand it as a user standpoint. I think it depends on a lot of factors. Personally, I really like it, but it's because I deal well with hunger. I know there's people that really don't deal well with hunger and cravings, and that really makes them eat uncontrollably. If that's you, I don't recommend intermittent fasting, because intermittent fasting is just making that worse. If you're struggling with hunger, it's going to make you more hungry, because The thing about intermittent fasting is you can't run away from the hunger. You are going to be hungry because you're fasting. You're going through extended periods of time of not eating food. That's the whole strategy. The whole strategy is to prolong the time that you're not eating in a day and lessen the time that you are eating in a day. And that's going to involve hunger. So if you don't deal well with hunger, I'd say don't do it. If you're fine with hunger, like me, like, you know, it's difficult, you need to fight it, but it's a winnable battle, then I think it's something you can try. It's something you can consider, especially if you're somebody that likes to feel full, because intermediate fasting allows that. Intermediate fasting allows you to have bigger meals. The less meals you're eating in a day, the bigger it can be. Simple example I always throw out. Let's say your target is 1,500 calories. 3 meals is only 500 calories per meal. Not a very big meal, right? Even smaller than a Big Mac. You put that to 2 meals, that becomes 750. Now you got Big Mac and some fries. That one meal will satisfy you a lot more. So what if you do something like 500 for one meal, 1,000 for another? Then you really become satisfied, but you're still just eating 1,500. That's what I really like about intermittent fasting. Second thing I really like about intermittent fasting is I feel like I have a lot of free time, because back when I was eating like 3 meals a day, I felt like I'm constantly thinking about food. The moment I wake up, I'm thinking about, all right, you know, what's for breakfast, what I got to prepare, and then you got to go and eat it and all that. 1-2 hours later, you're thinking about lunch already, thinking about what to get and all that. And then you have lunch and then you rest, and then, you know, a couple of hours, then you think about dinner. It's like, it's never ending, right? For me, that's how it felt like. I'm just always thinking about food. With intermittent fasting, it's like now that my first meal is 12 p.m., I wake up at 6 a.m. I'm not thinking about food at all. 6 to 12, I'm chilling, I'm working. My day feels a lot more productive. And that's something I love about intermittent fasting. So, you know, with all those things considered, it's not so much that I recommend it or not. It's more like, I think you need to be a little bit more self-aware, then decide if it is for you or not. And remember, there's no harm in trying. Why don't you just try it for 2-3 weeks as consistently as possible and see how you feel? See if it's really for you, it's not really for you, or, oh, it's kind of okay, but you wish you could change this. I mean, make the adjustments. There's no problem there as well. I think there's at least 100 of these answers here. I'll go through it over the next couple of episodes so we can go through these answers, because I'm starting now to see that my answers before are very different from my answers now, and I think it's a little bit more in depth when I answer it now, the 2023 mode. So we'll keep this in line, but there's no way I can fit all this in one episode. So we'll go for one last one. And the question is, if I feel hungry during a fast, still need hours to finish, which is better, to eat or just to ignore and keep going? And I think this is a really good question. This is somebody that's actually been on intermittent fasting, because you would only have this problem if you've tried it. So like I was saying previously, it's super normal to feel hungry when you're on intermittent fasting. If you're going to be on intermittent fasting, the whole goal is to hit that fasting goal, right? Of course, you're going to feel hungry. If you can power through, power through. If it's too hard, or that particular day, it's a once in a while thing that you're just so hungry before the time's up, then go eat first. That's also not a big deal at all. There's not which is better, right? The better is that you're still in a consistent calorie deficit. That's what's better. That's your goal. You want to lose weight over time. You need to be in a consistent calorie deficit. You're using intermittent fasting to help you reach that deficit. Whether you break the fast early or not isn't a big deal. Just make sure if you break your fast early, that day you're still in a calorie deficit. That's really what you have to worry about. You don't really got to worry about breaking the fast early. Now, with that said, realize that both ways work. There is no better. If you break fast early, account for those calories. If not, power through and just treat it as per normal. So that is roughly gonna be it for today. I really like this segment. I think we're just gonna keep this one going. It really feels like it's just a trip down memory lane. And oh, I gotta correct myself. I think there's more than 100 of these Q&A questions. I'm looking at the current question we're on, and it's page 17 out of 249. So there's plenty of these we can go through over the next couple of episodes. And of course, I could pull in some of the ones that on the usual daily Q&As that I want to expand on, and we can talk more about it here. And don't forget, any questions you have that's in maybe longer form, or you have some more in-depth questions, you know, feel free to email me, feel free to DM me. I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to deep dive into certain issues, because that's what this podcast is for. That's what's fun. And so hope you enjoyed this episode. I want to go back and check if I've done KFC or not, because in my heart, I believe I have, but my brain's telling me I didn't. So if not, we'll go through KFC next week as well. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
It's